Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Jewell with the CTE Foundation, and I am here with Louise Mazul, who's a production manager at Manzana. Welcome, Louise. Thank you for being here. We're going to start off the interview with just having you tell us what a production manager at a food manufacturer does.
I'm a production manager, so basically what I do is I come basically in the morning and start to uh, oversee our production lines and start to either do some problem solving or just start to direct our employees on what are their tasks for the day are and what are our goals that need to be accomplished by the end of the day. And so typically we are a processing plant, so we process apples, so making applesauce, juice, and vinegar. So we have different varieties of lines, and so each one is a very unique. So the startup is always kind of very complex because we need to make sure that every single equipment is running the way it should be, and then also the same with our operators, making sure that they are aligned with what needs to be made for the day. If that includes making different flavors or just making a different blend of what we do here. And then also just making sure that at the end of the day, we meet a certain percentage of our scheduled goal attainment.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much staff do you oversee?
For my current department in production, I oversee about close to 80 employees, and we run a two-shift operation.
So how did you get into this career? Like, tell us about your background and your interests that really led you to this.
I actually have a food science degree, and so um, that came with basically a lot of understanding of what food chemistry is about. And then because of being exposed to that, I got into food manufacturing. And so, which was at the time was far like so new to me. But then it was kind of put into perspective, like when you go to the grocery store, you see all these things that are packaged, right? You see cereal boxes, things are in jars or in bottles, the way they're milks, eggs. So everything involves a food scientist behind it, but then also involves a manufacturing plant. So that's how I kind of got hooked and going into that. And then the way I got kind of involved here at Manzana Products is actually I started with as their sanitation supervisor. So meaning I got to oversee a lot of like how they clean in the process. And then from there started to kind of move up with different management roles within the company.
So what is it about your job and the company as a whole? What is it about that you really like that keeps you going?
The job is just the people that I get to work with, and so because it is a different culture, what I'm used to, in a sense, because a lot of my background, yes, it is in food, but I did start out in the hospitality industry, and so as a chef, and so that kind of was like a different pathway to get to where I'm at, but it all encompassing food. And so just the environment itself. And so the way it's just, you're looking at in the hospitality industry, you're looking more of serving 200 people a night rather than now you work in manufacturing, you are serving now millions of people with this product. Right. And so for me, the way I got into all of this in Zana is essentially is going through that process, really just kind of getting into what does it really encompass. You're taking an apple, right? You're kind of making the decision, is this going to be juice, sauce, or vinegar, right?
Did you start off with an interest in culinary and then move to manufacturing?
Yes, so literally out of high school, I went to culinary school, but in order to get there, it was kind of a decision. When I was in high school, with one of my counselors kind of asked me the question about what do you want to do with the rest of your life, right? And so basically I kind of said to myself, like, well, I just want to eat. So, and so like, how do I do that? And so then, so culinary arts was just like, all right, I'm going to do this. And so, again, it's because one of the things I really love food. And so not just besides eating it, but also there is the artistic thing about it. So that's why I went to culinary school. And that's where I learned to basically become a chef. So I was able to get all my certifications. So luckily I went to my local community college. They had a pretty solid program and was able to attend their program and follow every single step and then graduate. And then from there, I was able to get an internship in France for a little while and understand truly what's the French cuisine. And I did that for about 8 years. I was in the hospitality industry before I decided to change to manufacturing. With that change really was when I started cooking, I started to ask the questions about why things are happening in food. So meaning like if I put a steak on the grill, why is that turning at a certain color, right? There's something going on there at a molecular level, right? So there's something that has to do with the fats and the proteins that are in there. Or when I cook a vegetable in different, like if you're going to deep fry that or if you're going to put it in water, the colors are changing dramatically, but then also the flavors, like something is happening at a certain level. And so when I was cooking, there wasn't a lot of, my answers were not being answered. And so because they were just way too complex. And so then I did more research and then found out that, oh, there's actually this path that I can take, and that is food science. And so with that, I went back to school, and so started to get my degree, bachelor's degree in food science. And so, I mean, it took me a long time. Like it wasn't easy. It wasn't like from straight out of high school you go to where I was at. It took me quite a while to get there.
Well, I love the fact that you took your couple of passions that you had. You love food, but then it also sounds like you have a very scientific mind. You're very inquisitive and you're wondering how things work. And it's led you down this path. So, what kind of skills and training are needed to be successful in your job?
For the management roles, really, it involves a lot of understanding a lot of your soft skills. What I mean by soft skills, it's more of the inner, like person to person skills when it comes down to how you communicate to them, how you delegate the work. But it really comes down to is understanding each employee's personality, how they learn, how can they adapt, who they are as an individual. And basically trying to figure out what are their strengths and their weaknesses. So a lot of that has to do with a lot of soft skills. There's also a lot of hard skills that we need to know. So meaning understanding different machinery, how does that work from a start to finish. And so there's a lot of things that I do technical here, as well. So it's not just me kind of just managing the employees, making sure that they're doing their job, but it's also I have the opportunity to actually operate machinery. And so just kind of get my hands a little bit dirty. And so, but it's pretty awesome to kind of just work with the current technology. And just sometimes for me, it's amazing kind of how do you see how a pouch package is made. And so it's just understanding that it does require both sets of skills, the soft skills and the hard skills.
Sounds like your job has a lot of variety to it. Like every day you go in and you're doing multiple things, and you might be doing a lot one day and something different the next day. Am I right?
Correct. It's never a dull moment here.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the exciting parts of this job, that it's always go, go, go. And it's always active. There's always something new because we're always developing also new flavors with our apples, believe it or not. And so, and also different ways of how to actually process them. And so for me, it's allowing my background in food science to actually evolve.
The students that are watching this are generally in high school, and they were at that place that you were at before, where they're just trying to think about what is it that I like, what is it that I'm good at. So maybe you can give them one piece of advice as they're starting to explore different careers and will soon be graduating high school.
Right. So the piece of advice that I have is just like, do what you're passionately, that you love to do. Right. And that's what I did, is that my passion is food, like anything about that. So besides just eating it, but also making it, it's what I was, very enthusiastic, very charismatic about. And so that was my love for food led me to where I am now. And so if you love something, if you're very passionate about it, if you care that much, I suggest go for it, right? There's going to be some obstacles along the way, like, so meaning you are going to fail, but it's okay to fail, right? And that's because that's where we learn our lessons. And so, because I did fail a lot, but still, those are the lessons that are made me the person that I am today. Um, and so, and for that, I also appreciate the mentors that were in my life, that got me to this point. Because without them, I would be so lost, truly, what it meant first to be a chef, and then also secondly, how to be a food scientist as well. And so, so yeah, so if you're passionate about something, I'd recommend go for it. So if you're like interested, if you want to do machining, go for it, right? There's a lot of engineering things that are out there, especially with food. If you like microbiology, definitely go with that. There's things you can do with that degree. There's quality assurance that you can do. There's a lot of laboratory work that can be done there. If you're interested in, definitely, if you love, doing a lot of laws and regulations, you want to be a lawyer, definitely hit that up as well, because we do need people who understand FDA, USDA regulations. And so again, if you're whatever passionate, there's always something you can do, especially around with food.
Thank you, Luis. No, I really appreciate your time, and especially really appreciate the advice that you're giving the students. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, and thank you.